Okay, sorry for accidentally skipping these questions, but I'm going to go ahead and do them now so you'll have every single question on the review worked out. So number seven has an x squared out in front. So you're going to have to distribute it to all three terms. The thing about multiplying though is you actually add the exponents. So this is going to give us x to the fifth power minus 3x to the third power. And if you're wondering where the third power came from, it's because this x has a 1 on it. And then you're going to do x squared times 4, which is positive 4x squared. And then that's your answer. Number 8. Number 8 is a multiplying problem again. So we're going to do 4x times 3x, which is 12x squared. 4x times minus 1, which is minus 4x. And then 7 times 3x, which is positive 21x. And then we're going to do 7 times minus 1, which is minus 7. And we're going to combine like terms here. So that's going to give us a positive 17x. And then we have 12x squared and then minus 7. That's our answer. The next one is division. Notice again the x term. The x term tells us whether or not we can use the shortcut. So this is going to be synthetic division because that x right there is to the first power and there's no coefficient in front of it. So there's also a 1 in front. So when that happens, you can use synthetic division. So we're going to stick a -1 here. Now this is where you're going to have to be super, super careful because you have to have a spot for every variable and every exponent. So we're going to start off with 3x to the third minus 2x squared. Oops, I don't need to put the x there. So it's just going to be minus 2x squared. And then the next one should have been x, but there isn't one there. So I'm going to put a 0, and then I'm going to put a 6. This 0 right here is going to mess a lot of people up because you have to make sure that there's a spot for everything. If you don't put that there, it's not going to work out. So you got to remember to put it. Okay, so we drop the first one, multiply that back to the -1, so that's -3. And then we're going to combine those, so that's -5. And then we're going to multiply those, and that's going to be positive 5. And then we're going to combine those, and that's 5. And then we're going to combine or multiply back to the -1, so that's -5. So we end up with a remainder of 1. To put the letters back on, you just lower the exponent by 1. So this is 3x squared minus 5x plus 5. And then this last term here, this is going to be your remainder. And when you have a remainder, you put a plus. You put that remainder on the top of the fraction, and then you put whatever you were dividing by down at the bottom. So that right there is our final answer. Now the last one, unfortunately, the last one has a number out in front of the x. So that means that we won't be able to do your synthetic division. So we're going to have to do this one using long division. So the way long division works is the 6x squared minus 13x plus 6 goes on the inside of our little division house. And then your 2x minus 3 goes out in front. Now, I like to show all of my work to show where everything is coming from. So you're going to take the first term from the inside, which is 6x squared, and you're going to put it on top of the first term from the outside. So that's going to be a 2x. If you simplify this, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then if I have an x squared on top and an x on the bottom, we can subtract those exponents, or you could just think of canceling one of the x's from the top and the bottom. So that's going to be 3x. Now this right here, this is going to be an answer that we have to put on top. So we want to match it up with its like terms. So we're going to stick the 3x right above the 13x. Every time you put something on the top, you have to come back and multiply it to both of the terms out in the front. So we're going to take that 3x and we're going to multiply it by 2x. So that's going to give us 6x squared. Then we're going to do -3 times 3x. So that's going to be -9x. Notice how I lined up the like terms. Then what you have to do, and this is the part that kids mess up on, a lot of kids just put a minus sign here, but I don't call it that. I call it switching the signs. So not only do you put the minus sign in this spot, but you're going to have to actually change the sign on here. And the reason why that's happening is because you're supposed to subtract the entire quantity. So let me just show you what that looks like really quick. You're supposed to subtract the entire 6x squared minus 9. So if we have a parentheses around it, that minus sign is going to distribute to both terms, and that's why the signs all change. I don't like to do that step because then it gets a little messy. So I just like to switch all of the signs. So if it's a negative, it turns into a positive, and if it's a positive, it turns into a negative. So now these guys cross out, and we're going to be left with the next step. So the next step is going to have negative 4x plus 6. And now the process starts all over. So we're going to take the first one from the inside, which is now negative 4x, and we're going to put it on top of the first one from the outside. So that's a 2x. We're going to divide these terms, so that's negative 2. And then the x's are going to cancel, so that's just a negative 2. So now the negative 2 goes above the 6 because they're like terms, and every time I put something on top, I have to go back and multiply it by 2x minus 3. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And then I'm going to go back and change all of the signs. So that's going to turn into a plus, and that's going to turn into a minus. You can see that when we do this, everything's going to cancel, and we don't have a remainder left. So that means that the answer up top right here, that's going to be our final answer. So I apologize for not doing all the problems in order. I don't know what happened. These 4 got cut off, but now you have them, so you should be good to go.